There is someone in your energy. Strongly. Someone who has received information, news, a result of some kind, and the moment it landed in their hands, their mind went to you. Not to their closest family member. Not to the group chat. To you. Specifically you. That's not a small thing. That is someone whose inner compass points in your direction when something feels significant. When something feels real. Let me feel into why that matters right now, because there is more to this than it first appears. The energy I'm picking up around this person feels like someone who has spent a considerable amount of time managing things internally. Someone who processes quietly. Someone who doesn't often reach for another person in moments of vulnerability because there's a part of them that has learned, somewhere along the way, that doing so doesn't always go the way they hope. There's a guardedness here, but not a cold one. It's more like someone who has been burned by opening up before, and so they've become careful. Deliberate. They don't share just anything with just anyone. And yet here they are. Wanting to share this with you. Something has happened in their world, medically. I want to be sensitive with how I navigate this because this energy doesn't feel dark or catastrophic. There is actually something unexpectedly positive beginning to emerge here, though I don't want to jump ahead because the emotional complexity around this is real and layered. What I can say is that whatever result or information they received, it landed differently than expected. It surprised them. And that surprise opened something. Like a door they weren't sure would ever open. Have you noticed this person being a little quieter than usual recently? Or maybe they've been present but just slightly, somewhere else? Like a part of them has been living in a waiting room that no one else could see? That's the energy I'm feeling. Someone who has been in a kind of suspended internal state, holding their breath without even fully realizing it. And now something has come through that is beginning to let them exhale. The connection between the two of you feels very digital to me. I'm sensing distance here. Physical distance. Or at the very least, a connection that lives significantly in the digital space, messages, screens, the little moments that happen through a phone or a device. There is something about the way this person reaches for you that happens through that medium. And yet the feeling behind it is anything but surface level. This isn't someone who casually scrolls and tags you in things. When they reach, they mean it. I want to pause here because something is catching my attention. The first instinct this person had when they got this news, when it truly landed, was to tell you. And I think that's going to mean something to you when you really let it sit. Because even if the two of you have complicated history, even if there have been silences or distances or things left unsaid, your name or your face or your energy was the first thing their heart reached toward. That is information. That is not nothing. This is a collective reading, so naturally not every detail will land the same way for everyone. But if you felt pulled here today, something in this energy is meant for you. Trust that. Now, I want to speak to the nature of what they received because the energy around the news itself is genuinely interesting to me. There was fear before this. Real fear. The kind that sits low in the stomach and follows you through normal moments, grocery shopping and making coffee and laughing at something, and then suddenly you remember it and it's there again. This person has been carrying that kind of fear. And they may not have shown it. They may have actually seemed quite fine from the outside. But something has been weighing on them. Something they were waiting to find out. And the result came back in a way they didn't expect. In a way that felt almost like grace. Like something that could have gone very differently went the other way instead. I'm hearing something like relief mixed with disbelief. The kind of feeling where you want to cry not because you're sad but because you've been holding so much for so long and suddenly you don't have to anymore. There is a joyful quality to this energy, but it's a trembling kind of joy. The kind that hasn't fully allowed itself to be felt yet because the person receiving it is still processing. Still integrating. Still waiting, maybe, for someone to confirm that yes, this is real, you can breathe now, it's okay, to feel good about this. And I think that someone they're waiting for might be you. There's more to this than it first appeared. I keep coming back to that feeling. Because on the surface, this looks like someone wanting to share news. But underneath that there is something much more emotionally significant happening. This person reaching toward you with this information is also reaching toward you with something they haven't said out loud. Something about what you mean to them. Something about where you sit in their world. Does this feel familiar? Like someone who communicates around the edges of what they really want to say rather than directly? Like someone whose actions consistently reveal more than their words do? Because that's what I'm sensing here. The act of wanting to tell you first is itself a message. It's a language. And the question I keep sitting with is whether this moment, this news, this unexpected result, is going to be the thing that finally shifts the dynamic between you. Because there is something about vulnerability shared in a moment like this that has the potential to change things. The energy changes here, and I want to name that because it becomes warmer. More open. Like a field around this person that is finally beginning to drop its guard. And within that field there is something genuine and soft. Not romantic in a performative way, but intimate in the way that really counts. The kind of intimacy that comes from letting someone see you when you're still shaking from relief. I'm also sensing something around this person's inner world that wants to be spoken to. Because I think one of the things that made this result so unexpected for them is that they had genuinely begun to prepare for a different outcome. Not consciously, maybe. But somewhere in the deep part of themselves they had started building a quiet resignation. Had started mentally setting things down. Making peace with a certain kind of news before it even arrived. And when the news came back different, better, more hopeful than they had allowed themselves to imagine, something in them broke open in the best possible way. And the first face in that breaking open was yours. I feel like some of you listening know exactly what I'm talking about. You've sensed something. Maybe there's been a quiet in this person that you've been reading without being able to name. Maybe they've been more present with you lately in small ways. More intentional. More like they've been reminding themselves of what they have, who they have, because some part of them was quietly afraid they might lose the chance to appreciate it fully. That kind of fear, the kind that travels alongside waiting for medical results, has a way of rearranging someone's priorities very quickly. And I think what you're looking at, what this reading is really pointing to, is a person whose experience of the last however long has fundamentally reordered what and who matters most to them. You are near the top of that list. Possibly at the very top. Now, I also want to acknowledge that the title of this reading holds a pause in it. That word, but now. And I want to be honest with you about what I'm sensing there because it's real. There is hesitation. There is something that has slowed this person's reach toward you even though the impulse to reach is strong. And I'm feeling into what that hesitation is made of. Part of it is timing. This person is still processing. Still landing. They're in that space between receiving news and fully inhabiting it. And reaching out while in that space requires a specific kind of courage, the courage to be seen while you're still trembling, before you've composed yourself, before you've figured out the right way to say it. Part of it might also be fear of a different kind. Not the medical fear, but the relational fear. The fear of what this reaching might mean. Of whether the reaching will be met. Of what they would feel if they opened up to you and found the door wasn't as open on your side as it is on theirs. And some of you might need to sit with that, because I think there are some here who haven't fully shown this person that they are safe. Not because you've been cold or cruel, but maybe because you've been protective of yourself. Maybe because there has been uncertainty on your end too. Maybe because you didn't know how much you mattered until right now, reading this, feeling something click into place. The energy I want to bring your attention to is one of profound emotional safety. Like an invisible field that exists between two people when they truly feel they can be themselves together. That's what this person is hoping to step into with you. That's what they're reaching toward. Not just sharing news. Reaching toward a space where they feel completely held. Where they don't have to manage how they come across. Where they can say, I got unexpected results and it scared me and it relieved me and you were the first person I wanted to tell, and have that land without needing to be explained or justified or made smaller. That is what they are reaching toward with you. And here's what I want to say gently to those of you who might be wondering if you can be that for this person. The answer is yes. I feel it very clearly. There is something in you that already knows how to hold this kind of space. Maybe you haven't been asked to hold it for a while. Maybe you've been more in the role of the one who needs holding. But there is a capacity in you for this kind of presence that is real, and that is being called forward right now. Something about this situation, this news, this reaching, is going to work out. I feel that with a quiet certainty. Not in a simplistic way, not in a way that bypasses the complexity of whatever is between you and this person. But in the sense that whatever is meant to come from this, whatever this news and this impulse to share it is the beginning of, the energy around it is genuinely favorable. Like something aligning that has been waiting to align for a long time. There is a softness to that. A gentleness. And I want to draw your attention to that quality specifically because it matters. Whatever this next chapter holds between you, it doesn't have to be dramatic or charged or filled with big declarations. There is something beautiful happening here that is gentle by nature. That asks to be approached with care rather than urgency. With patience rather than pressure. Like a deer appearing in a quiet clearing and you understanding instinctively that sudden movement would end the moment. That's the energy. Meet it gently. Let it unfold at its own pace. Don't rush to fill the silence when this person does reach out. Let yourself be in it with them. Let it be tender. Let it be a little awkward, even, because awkward and tender often live right next to each other when something real is happening. I'm hearing something like, this is the beginning of a chapter that both of you have been circling without knowing you were circling the same thing. I want to also speak to those of you who have been wondering whether this connection, this person, this specific dynamic in your life, is actually going anywhere. Whether the pull you feel toward this person, or the pull you sense from them, is real or whether you're reading into things. Because some of you have been second-guessing your own perception for a while now. Telling yourselves you're probably imagining it. Probably projecting. Probably making it mean more than it does. You're not imagining this energy. I want to say that clearly. Whatever you have felt around this person, whatever quiet knowing has been living in you, this moment, this news, this reaching, is confirmation that you were reading the room correctly all along. The connection is real. The significance is real. What you felt was accurate. The thing about unexpected good news, though, is that it can sometimes feel almost harder to receive than difficult news. Because difficult news has a script. There are things you're supposed to do, ways you're supposed to respond. But unexpected good news, news that arrives better than you dared hope, that can leave a person feeling strangely untethered. Not knowing quite how to hold it. Not knowing who they are on the other side of relief. And part of what this person is going to need from you, if you can offer it, is simply witness. Simply presence. Simply someone who can sit across from them, even through a screen, even through a message, and say, I hear you. I'm here. I'm glad. Let yourself feel this. That's not a big thing to ask. And yet it would mean everything. The energy toward the end of this reading is really beautiful. There is a feeling of things working out that I don't want to minimize or over-explain. It's just there. Quietly but firmly. Like a tide that has turned in the right direction. Like something that was held tightly being slowly, gently released. And the feeling of release is one of the most significant things I've sensed in this entire reading, because it tells me that whatever has been heavy, for you and for this person, is beginning to lift. It doesn't mean everything is resolved. It doesn't mean there won't still be processing, still be moments of sitting with what might have been, still be tender spots where the fear lived before the relief arrived. But the heaviness is shifting. Something real and good is finding its way through. And you are part of that goodness for this person. You are part of what makes this news feel worth celebrating. The first person they wanted to tell when something wonderful and unexpected happened was you. Let that land. Let that be the thing you carry out of this reading. Because sometimes the most important thing the cards show isn't what's complicated or difficult or unresolved. Sometimes the most important thing is simply this: someone, in a moment of unexpected grace, turned their heart toward you first. Trust what that means. Trust what you feel. And when they reach out, be the soft place they were hoping you'd be. You have more capacity for that than you might currently believe. And this, I think, is the beginning of you both finding that out.